Hello, Carla Hartley here. It is Friday, September 19th, 2020, and I'm continuing our discussion of income available for support. The person we're discussing today is the person who owns a business and runs a business. This is a self-employed individual, and for simplicity's sake, in this series of little videos, this is going to be the person who generally has employees and some type of overhead. When we're looking at compensation, what is income available for support? Again, just because it's deductible on the taxes doesn't mean it's removable as income available for support. And I'm going to discuss that a little bit more fully now. The first thing we look to is the managing and controlling spouse, the person who's running this business, is that person receiving a wage via W-2 or a draw of some type? That's the first step. If the business is an LLC, could be an either or. If we have a corporation, could be an either or. I think the advantage to incorporating is that you can pay yourself on a W-2. So we look for the compensation for the officer first. Now, sometimes we have one officer, which is the owner of the business, and that person has filled all of the spots, all of the officer slots. So compensation for officers, that's what that guy's earning that he's reporting. Then we're going to look towards the profit because we have a business. So we're going to have either a K1 or a Schedule C, and we want to see what the business is retaining as profit. Some of this is going to get a little complicated because, if you're talking taxes, is it pass through? Is it not pass through? We're not discussing that here. What we're looking for is income available for support, period. Not whether it's taxable or not whether, well, we do look at whether he actually pays taxes or not on that stuff, because there's taxable and non-taxable income available for support. And I'm digressing. Back to income available for support, not the category of it. So the Schedule C, the K1, that tells us what kind of profit we've got coming through the business. Then, and this is where it gets to be a lot of fun, we have the perquisites. Now, what is a perquisite? A perk is generally something that the owner of the business or the owners of the business are enjoying and are writing off through the business, but which really isn't essential to the function of the business. For instance, not a perquisite, things that are essential to the functioning of the business would be your advertising expenses, your office supplies. You need those reams of paper, employment expenses. If you have to pay employees, you've got workman's comp, you've got unemployment insurance, you may have health savings accounts. There's all sorts of stuff that even a small business can set up to benefit its employees. And then we are going to be looking at the other officers. If we have a corporation and the officers are all members of the family, but 3 of them don't work in the business, that's kind of diversifying, and that's money that could be used as available for support, but is just being diverted for tax purposes during the pendency of the marriage. So we take a good look at all that, and this usually is requiring an expert to do the deep dive on this. Attorneys can argue forever, but experts can testify. Never forget that. So what are perks? A perquisite would be a car that's not really used for work. Okay, you have a fixed office, you have a car that you drive to and from home in the office, but there's no real traveling involved with work. That car is a perk. Haircuts that are classified as networking because you talk with your hairdresser. The house cleaner that doesn't do any work at all in the business, that's a perk. If you're running groceries through your business, which is most common with restaurants, but that would be a perk. It's also a little bit harder with restaurants if they're buying everything in bulk and just taking some home. Dry cleaning, kind of a perk, and so on. One smart one is gift cards. You have a bunch of gift cards. You call them networking. Networking expenses. It's thank you gifts and stuff like that for referrals. And then it turns out that you're making all of your expenses on your gift cards as a way to avoid paying Uncle Sam. That is income available for support. Now that's subject to a couple of proof problems and requires a bit of a deeper dive than some experts can do. That is that is pretty much the big categories of where we look for income. So for a self-employed person who has an actual business, the nice thing about the person that has employees is he usually has to have a bookkeeper because there are so many forms involved with employees. So the expert is useful. The expert finds the perks, adds them to the draw, adds the W-2 income or the other type of income that the owner is receiving, adds the profit reflected on the K-1, adds back any depreciation, that sort of stuff, and you end up with a good picture of the income that is available for support. That is a term of art. It is very, very different from what is shown on the tax return. It is different from what's shown on the tax return almost invariably. So you do want someone, if you're looking at a business that you either want to protect from a support obligation, or you're looking at a business and you want to get a good support amount out of it, we need to look at that. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with businesses. For instance, you got two spouses working in a business, one of them's not working anymore. Was their function in the business important? Was it vital? Are you going to have to replace that cost and hire someone to take the place of that person? That becomes a non-perquisite, legitimate business expense. So I could go down this rabbit hole for days. I keep having to say on these videos that I cannot possibly tell you everything in a quick 5 to 6 minute video. However, hopefully I've given you enough of an idea that if you're looking at this and you've got somebody telling you, oh, the business makes no money, look at our taxes last year. Yeah, look at the QuickBooks report, not just the taxes, and have somebody who knows what to look for look at it. I hope you have enjoyed this. This is my wrap up on income available for support, and I hope you are considering hiring a competent attorney that has plenty of MCLE credits on the whole issue of business. This is not the kind of thing, this is not the kind of experience that you get in law school. This is something that requires experience and additional education once you become an attorney. And it's fun. That's what you need to remember. It's fun for the attorney, which is important because if it's fun, then the attorney is interested in it and is going to do a good job for you. If the attorney doesn't like numbers, you got a problem. All right, have a good day, have a good weekend, and I will see you again.